Hey guys, Itaewon Sammy here. Welcome back. All right. What a week. Coronavirus, presidential, whatever going on in the States, and just insanity going on in the world. So, anyway, we are going to do another love story. That love story I did last month was so great that one of my followers, who's actually a good friend of mine, said he's going to share his story. And I thought, okay, that's great. Because it's not a the ending to the story is not very good. You know, there it is a I don't want to jump too ahead, but it is not a good story, but it's a life lesson. So let's put it at that. So I'm going to tell the story in a couple of parts, and we're actually going to end the story with a personal interview. I'm going to get into the story, but right now he's not in Korea. He's in Philippines, and he's going to come back to Korea, and he will do an interview with me in March. So I'll do a follow-up then. So here we go. And most of the names are changed, but the name of the guy, his name is Tim. And most of you will, my Korean friends will know who this is. Everybody else, you won't know who it is until you see him later on. But anyway, this is my good friend Tim. I met him, gosh, it's got to be 3-4 years ago. It's got to be at least 4 years ago when I was working at House Ming. Yeah, so I met him. Can't really remember how I met him because I meet so many people, but we hit it off. He's such a cool guy. He's a character. Let's put it that way. A very unique character. I made a joke about it to him a while ago because he's very big. He's like 7 foot tall and, 210 centimeters tall. And he's like, huge. He's very big and intimidating. And the funny thing is that he says what's on his mind. He does not filter. And I said to him, it must be nice to be able to just do and say what you wish. He says, what do you mean? And says, you don't understand it, Tim. Like, people who are not as big as you have to, censor what they say because other people will confront them about it. And you being so big, nobody's going to challenge you on it. He says, and he thought for a minute about it, and he says, yeah, you're kind of right. I never thought of that. I said, why do you think I walk with you behind me? Because everybody moves out of the way. It's hilarious. But, he is the nicest, sweetest guy you will ever meet. If he's your friend, he will take a bullet for you. That's one of the things I love about the man, is that he is a true friend. One of the few friends I have here in Korea. So anyway, let's take a step back to his story. I don't know how old he is. He's a little younger than me. Well, a lot younger than me. But his story is very unique in that he developed a really unique Korean life. So let's take a step back to 95. So I'm just reading off of the notes that I got from him. So he's American. So he came here in 95 to study Taekwondo. And he decided to, after a short stay here, he joined the US military and requested to be stationed in Korea. So in 96, he arrived to do his military duty and he learned Korean. He's a really smart guy. And he can speak Korean way better than me. I mean, I can speak, in my life I've spoken 9 languages, and he can speak Korean way better than me. It's very impressed. So, and he's a young guy, right, at this point. So, of course, he started getting offers for modeling because he's a very unique look. When you meet him, you'll see what I'm talking about. And those of you who know him can say that, can know what I'm talking about. So he started acting, and he found himself in that K-pop world, and he's musically inclined, and so he started writing lyrics, English lyrics, for groups and singers and stuff, and he started making those connections, and So now, fast forward about a couple of years, it's 1999, and he leaves the military to become an entertainer in Korea. So that, that works out very, very well for me. He's very successful. Now, fast forward 2002, living here for, 3 years, meets a Korean girl, falls in love, gets married, has a child, and she wants to move to America, and he wants to stay in Korea. He has a pretty good job, making good money, and he's having fun. So what happens? But issues in relationships is jealousy, and what happens is, again, I've talked about this before. Why am I single? Is because who would want to date me when I'm working in clubs all the time? That's the reality of it. So, but because he has this relationship and he has a child, he decides, yeah, okay, this is better for my family. So he moves back to the U.S. 6 years after he first arrived in Korea. So now we're.
It's so low for me.
2005. 3 months later, he's back to full-time. He's in the U.S. He's back to full-time military duty. It's a good job because he has experience. He gets back into the military very easily. Sorry, I got the date wrong. It's 2000. So 6 years after first arriving. So now that would have been 2002. Again, fast forward 2 years. It's now 2000 or a few years. 2004. The relationship doesn't work out. He gets divorced for whatever reasons. The shit happens, right? Sorry. Excuse me. We'll try to edit that out. He gets divorced. He's mentioned to me it's because of work, not being close to the family. But there's so many issues even in my relationships in the past. Is like there's no real right reason or wrong reason. It happens. Okay, so it happened here. A few years later, he's still working in the military because he's staying close to his family, to his son. He was injured in his military service, so he takes early retirement. He goes back to college, and by 2014 he's back in Korea, and within a few months he's back in the entertainment industry doing the things that that he was good at doing. He reconnected with the people that he knew and leveraged his experience and his talent to become another big success. He's living the superstar lifestyle, parties, being with the superstars. He's working mostly as a music producer, rap artist, and actor. And this is the time that I met him. I was running House Ming and Bennett's Bar, and he knew the owners there as well. So, me being the party guy of Itaewon Sammy, I get to know all the famous people as well, and he was famous. So, Infamous Ricks, Tim Ricks was his name, and Infamous Ricks, I think, was his nickname back at the time. So, this is the guy that I met. Now, he has lived here in Southeast Asia for, it's now 2000 and, let's fast forward again. I knew him for a long time. So I met him in about 2014. So 5 years ago, let's say 2015, 2016. At least 4 years minimum. 4 years, 5 years at the most. So 2014, 2015. And so he has lived in Southeast Asia for at that point, over 10 years. Nope. Since 1995 to 2015. That's 20 years. 20 years he's lived in Southeast Asia. All right. So suffice it to say, being a predominantly single guy in that time, he has gotten to know the culture, not only of Korea, but he travels. Thailand, Philippines, Malaysia, he travels, Japan. So you get to understand that lifestyle. And he's not a naive guy. He's a very smart guy, you know. So he starts to travel to the Philippines. But in 2017, on one of his travels, he meets a Philippine lady, girl. And this is where our story begins. So we're going to go to part 2 to complete the story, but what I wanted to do is set up who this guy is. And where do you think this story is going? A smart, non-naive guy meeting a Filipino girl. What do you think happens next? We're going to follow up with you in part 2 coming up real soon. Itaewon Sammy, I'm out.